Hi everybody, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I'm Richard. Today we're going to be taking a look in this little blue box here from Bersa. This is the Bersa TPR9C. Let's open it up. Okay, here it is, the Bersa TPR9C. The case is kind of a little parallelogram shaped box here, and we'll get it opened up. It's a pretty decent case on this thing too, and it latches very well. And inside there is all wrapped in plastic. You got the magazine wrapped in plastic, you got the gun wrapped in plastic. Let's get it out of the case. Let's look underneath here and see what we got. We've got the little Bersa key that goes to lock them up, and then you've got the paperwork in here, the TPR series pistol user's manual, and I don't think there's nothing underneath the top flap there. Get this all put back in here, and let's take a closer look at the gun. Okay, now that we got it all out of the plastic there, it does have a chamber flag in it. Let's go ahead and get that opened up, get that chamber flag out of there so you know it is empty. It is pretty oily too, fresh out of the bag there from the storage oil that's on it right now. We're going to have to get it cleaned up before we actually take it out of the range and shoot it. The little key I mentioned goes right here. There's a little lock. You probably have to release that. And we'll go ahead and release the hammer. And this is a decocker as well as a safety on there. Now we can go ahead and take and lock it up. And it locks the slide, it locks the trigger, it locks everything. So we're going to need that unlocked to do what we got to do now. Bersa usually is most, I guess, popular for their Thunder series firearms. This is a Thunder 380. They do make a Thunder 22. This is going to be the most common Bersa you see out there. It's kind of a Walther PPK type gun. It's a direct blowback. It does have a decocker on it, as well as a slide release right there, the magazine release right there. This was a special edition one I bought many years ago for my wife. It does have a really nice overmolded rubber grip on there with the finger grooves in the grip. It's a really nice feeling gun. It handles really well. The only thing I don't like about it is it being a direct blowback. It's kind of painful on the back strap there. And this is all metal frame on there. And the same thing with the TPR9C. This is also an all metal frame. It does come with two magazines. I believe they are 13 round magazines. Yep, two 13 round magazines. Nice big safety there that is ambidextrous, and also has an ambidextrous slide stop there, and this is also a slide release. There are going to be some guns that are going to have a slide lock but not a slide release. The ones that are bigger like this, that are easy to grab a hold of, that's actually a slide release. And then, like I said, it's got a decocker on it. Now, to take this thing apart, you don't need to do a trigger pull or anything on it. Just make sure your hammer's down, and you've got your takedown lever there, which is not ambidextrous, but just take and go ahead and roll that down. Pull your slide right off the front. It is a double recoil spring in there. It is not a captive unit, so they will come apart. And then take your barrel, push it forward, lift it up, and again, it's very oily, all the factory oil on it. These are made in Argentina, and Bersa has been around since sometime in the 1950s. There were three engineers that got together. One of them who worked for Beretta, I believe it was before. These guys started their own company, moved from Italy to Argentina, and formed Bersa. Bersa is made up of their three names, I guess. The first initial of their three names. To put it back together, just drop your barrel right back down in there. You've got your guide rod in there. Go ahead and push that forward and push that guide rod right down on the lug. If I can get it in there. Oops. Got to make sure there is a little groove in the barrel right there, or in the barrel lug, so you want to get that all the way in there. And it's not a lot of tension on it, but you got to get everything lined up just right. And I think I got it right there. Yep, it is all the way in there. And to put it back together, you just there's some pretty long slides on here. With this being a metal frame gun instead of polymer frame, it's really nice. I like it. I'm getting kind of tired of polymer guns. There's a whole slew of them out there. Just push that back on there and flip your takedown lever back. So if I can get my fingers in there. There we go. Just pull it back just a little bit and your takedown lever will fly right back up in there. Magazine release on the slide there. It does have a, the sights are drift adjustable for windage. There is no adjustment for elevation on there. You do have a little Allen screw right there in the top of the rear sight. It's a 3-dot sight system, so they're not glow-in-the-dark or tritium sights, but they're pretty high visibility. It is hammer fired. You can fire in single action if you want, and you can fire in double action, which is really nice because if you do have a bad round, you can do a second pull on the trigger, and if it doesn't go off, then you can kick it out. It does have loaded chamber indicator on there, and you'd be able to see that popped up in there. Let's go ahead and pull this back apart again. See if I can push that up for you. The little loaded chamber indicator is right there on the top. It's not colored, it just sticks up a little bit to let you know that there is a round in the chamber there. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing all cleaned up, then we'll get it out on the range with some 115 grain 9mm Luger full metal jacket, blazer brass. I've got a couple boxes of it. We'll probably fire at least a couple magazines through it anyways, maybe a little bit more than that. All right, while I was cleaning it up, I noticed a few things about it. The finish on the barrel is not all that great. There's shiny spots, there's dull spots on there. It almost looks like it's a little thin in places too. Of course, when you get a little oil on this finish that's on there, it shows up differently, but some of that just doesn't wipe off, and it's just like it's kind of an uneven coating on there anyways. And I also noticed, although it does have a pretty nice polish job on the feed ramp there, the rifling inside there is not the best. It almost looks like instead of nice square cuts in there, that they're almost rounded over. That could affect a little bit of the accuracy there. I'll try to get you a better shot of that rifling in there. But other than that, it feels like it's a pretty well made, nice thick heavy barrel on it, a little bit of a recessed target crown on there, I guess, or recessed anyways, protect the end of your rifling on there. But I'm not real happy about the finish on this. It's just not all that great. All right, but now that it's all cleaned up and lubed up, we'll get the barrel put back in there, get the recoil spring back in there, get it. It's kind of, this one's a little tougher to get on than some. You got to make sure that that guide rod is lined up with that hole there, and it not being a captive unit makes it just slightly more difficult. Not terrible though. We'll get the slide put back on there. Like I said, nice long, this is an aluminum alloy frame, nice long guide rails on it there, and it goes together pretty easy. Really, the takedown on this thing is nice because no tools needed, and it's not hard to do. You don't need a trigger pull on it, so you don't have to worry about some of those states that that's illegal to do the trigger pull. They don't sell those guns in those states anyways if it requires a trigger pull. Other than that, it's not bad. The trigger pull on this thing in double action is kind of long and kind of heavy. In single action, that trigger comes back quite a bit, and it's very short. Well, it's not real short. It's pretty light though. Not a bad trigger pull on this thing. And reset is, wow, really short. Nice tactile. You can hear it and you can feel it a little bit. Yeah, the reset on this thing is really nice. Really short. All right, everybody, we're out here on the range with the Bersa TPR9C. It is unloaded. And I'm going to go ahead and load the magazines up. Like I said, I got some blazer brass here. This is 115 grain full metal jackets. And what we're going to do is load up a couple of these magazines. Now the magazines are actually pretty nice. They're all metal magazine. They even have a metal follower in them, which is pretty cool. And like I said, a lot of these magazines, you want to load that first round by hand, because if you got one of the little loading tools here, sometimes when you put that in there and you push down on it, it kind of kicks that follower around a little bit just because of that severe slope on the side of it for the first round. But once you get that in there, then you can go ahead and put your next rounds in there. They go in pretty easy without a bunch of tipping and tilting and all that kind of good stuff. The Lula brand magazine loading tools load a little bit different. They load, there's a little finger that goes in from the front and pushes down, and there's a kind of a grip on the front there. You push it in, push it down. They load a little differently. They probably handle these a little bit better, but with this type that I've got here, they tend to push down on the back of that follower, and when there's not a round in there, it causes it to tilt from one side to the other. Now these are 13 round magazines. So there's my 13th round. Give a little tap on the back side, make sure they're all pushed toward the back there. And it seemed to load pretty easy with the loading tool. That first round is always going to be a bear, and usually the last round will be a bear too. I'll load this one all by hand and see how it does. I can get a better feel for how the pressure is on that spring than I can with the tool. Yeah, they get a little tough. I've got 7 in there right now. Yeah, they get very tough when you get to the last couple ones in there. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and use the tool. And there's round 13. Yeah, a little tough on the fingers getting that last one in there. But anyways, I've got a couple targets up there. Of course, since this is a concealed carry handgun, a personal protection handgun, I obviously have one of the silhouette targets up there, and I've got one of these up there too. Now the black circle in there is 4-inch. I measured it instead of just saying I don't know what it is. And then the outside is 6-inch. So again, we're going to set the Caldwell matrix up here and take a couple shots from 10 yards away at the little round target and see how it does. And then we'll do some silhouette shots. Okay, I've got the first magazine in the gun there. We're going to go ahead and get one racked in there and take some accuracy shots with it at 10 yards. All right, we're just going to do 5 shots right there, and like I said, it's got a decocker on it, so we'll go ahead and do that and go out there and check out the target. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my 5 shots, a little bit to the right. Elevation's pretty good, except for that, I think that was my first shot right there. So it doesn't do too bad, 10 yards. Like I said, that's a 4-inch circle in the black part there, 6-inch in the outside ring there. So everything is probably within at least a 3-inch group from there to there anyways. Let's go ahead and step back up to the 7-yard line and take some center mass shots here at the silhouette target. All right, I should have 8 more rounds in here. Now this is single action or double action. I can either pull the hammer back and pull the trigger, or I can just go ahead and pull the trigger because there is one in the chamber. I'll go ahead and take it off safe, and we'll go ahead and give it 8 kind of rapid fire shots center mass, see how it does. Yeah, that's not too bad. Last round hold open on it, so all you got to do is hit the little button on the side to kick the mag out. It does kick out pretty easy, which is kind of nice. And then you can go ahead and load your next one up. Go ahead and drop the slide. It's ambidextrous, so either side there. Go ahead and drop it, and I'm going to go ahead and holster it, so I go ahead and use the decocker, and it's safe to carry like that. All right, there's my steel target up there, 15 yards away. I really meant to get some spray paint for that thing, but one of these days I will. Let's go ahead and try it out. All right, again, last round, hold open, kick the magazine out, put your next one in, drop the slide. All right, I got a couple magazines set up here with 2 rounds in there each. I like doing a little bit of the 2 and 2 stuff there, so we're gonna go ahead and give it a try and see how it does for mag changes. Not too bad. They're pretty easy to get in there. It's not a flared mag well. I guess there's a little bit of a flare on it there, but with the taper of that magazine, it's pretty easy to get right on inside there. And at that time, I pulled the slide back and dropped it instead of using the slide release on there. The slide release is a little hard to get up there. You kind of have to roll the gun in your hand a little bit. Maybe if I use my trigger finger, it might be a little bit easier. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. But it was just a little easier for me to go ahead and pull it back and let it drop there. Reaching it with my thumb is just slightly more difficult. The button is pretty easy to get to on there, and it is reversible, so if you're a lefty, and this is a good gun if you're a lefty too, because with it having the ambidextrous safety and the slide release on it, and with the ability to swap the mag release over, it's a great choice if you're a lefty. All right guys, there it is. This is the Bersa which normally you would think of the Thunder 380 or the Thunder 22, but this is the TPR9C. It's a metal frame. It's an aluminum alloy frame on there, so no polymer on it. It does have a little piece of a Picatinny rail on the front there, so if you're putting a laser or a flashlight or something on it, it's a good choice if you're a lefty or a righty. Pretty good 3-dot sight system on it. It feels really good in the hand. Little pinky extension on the magazine there, so you can get a good solid grip on it. And it's a compact, so it's easy to carry, easy to conceal carry if you, you know, can do that where you live. The decocker on it, magazine release, and the grip texture on there leaves a little to be desired. It's a polymer grip that's on there, and it's a one-piece grip, wraps around the back there. So I don't know if anybody makes another aftermarket grip for this thing, but a nice rubber coating like on my wife's Bersa Thunder 380 would really make this thing feel nice. A pretty good trigger in it, although I did not do a trigger pull on it. The weight, it's a good feeling trigger. It is a really long, heavy pull on the double action, but you're going to have that with any double action because it has to actually cock the hammer and then release it. The single action release on this thing is really sweet. There's a little bit of a take up on it, and then it breaks pretty crisp. Maybe just a slight sponginess in the trigger, but not bad at all. It does have a loaded chamber indicator on the front of it there. Just a really comfortable gun. And like I said, most people don't even think of, I mean, they only think of one gun when they think of Bersa, but Bersa's been around since the 50s. And they also made some shotguns and rifles back in the day, but right now they only do just a few handguns, and they're pretty good quality, definitely good quality. I said earlier I didn't like the finish on the barrel. The finish on the slide and the actual frame is really nice. It's just something about the finish on the barrel that I'm not a big fan of. Not that there's anything wrong with it, and it doesn't really matter. That's looks. Function is just fine on it. And the little issue I had with the rifling in it, it was really hard to show in that bore scope shot there, but they looked almost rounded, but there was no tumbling there, and accuracy is pretty good at 10 yards. Pretty good at 15 yards, even though I missed the steel silhouette target up there a couple times. It's going to run you about the $400 mark, so if you're looking for one, they are mass produced, but not like most pieces. I mean, the slide is numbered on here. I think the barrel actually has the the barrel has a serial number on it, the slide has a serial number on it, the frame has a serial number on it. So they take the time to match all these parts up. They don't just grab another slide and throw it on a frame and say it's good. They're actually matched up. They stick together. The Bersa TPR9C. Thanks for watching. If you could, hit this button up here to check out some of my other videos. Hit this button down here to subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for watching Small Caliber Arms Review.